Hello guys. In this session we will be seeing how to configure the guided activity floor plan manager application, and the steps are, it's not going to be anything different than what we have seen in the OAF and OVP. The steps are going to be exactly the similar one, except that the guided activity floor plan, they render the application in the form of a road map. So we will just go ahead and create the application and we will see how it looks like. So right click on the component and click on create application. So I'm just specifying the name as ZWDA underscore GAF demo 1. Right click on the application and click on create or change configuration. Okay, change configuration. Enter the name for the configuration and click on create. So the GAF and only OAF has the idea region, which I have told you already. Enter the name for the configuration and click on go to component configuration and it will create as the component configuration. So if you see here, the application is going to be rendered as a roadmap. In the attributes, we can go ahead and add our component that we wanted to display. Sorry, it's the UIBB main. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a substep for this one, right? So in the substep, I'm going to say, okay, let it be substep 1, and for the substep, I'm going to add a UIBB which is already added, and in that UIBB I'm going to specify the second interface view of the first component that we have developed. Then I'm going to create one more step which is going to be a main step. So select the main step and add another main step, and here in this main step I'm going to configure the second component which we have created, which is the WDC underscore FPM2, and specify the UIBB as main. Save. Now to test the application, just go back to the application configuration and click on test. Now what it is going to show you is, it is going to show you the main step. When I click on next, it is going to go to the next step. Only, sorry, okay, something is wrong with the configuration. Sorry, I have missed a point here. When we are going to click on the next button, it is only going to directly navigate to the next main step, which is the reason why it didn't go inside the sub step. So I will take this as an opportunity to show you how to navigate from one step to another step in the application. So using this methodology, you can pretty much jump from the current step in which you are to any step that you wanted. Now we have added our substep in our application, right? But just by adding the substep in our application, it's not going to get into the substep. I need a trigger point through which I have to raise an event to get into the substep. So how do I do that? So in this example, I'm just going to do it by triggering the process event method. So like I have told you, whenever I do some action on the screen, the process event method is going to be triggered. So in the method, I'm going to write my coding. So I'm just going to write the coding roughly to show you a demo, but in real time, you may have to check what is the event that is triggered. Then accordingly, you have to manipulate your logic. So this is a demo. So I'm just going to write my code straight away into the Webdynpro component. So I have already written the coding over there, and I'm just going to explain what I have done here. So the first thing is that if in order to manipulate, in order to raise the event of the floor plan manager, I need the reference of the floor plan manager first. So using the factory class, I get the reference of the floor plan manager, which is, so using the factory class cl underscore fpm underscore factory and calling the static method get instance, I am getting the reference of the FPM. Then the next thing is I'm going to trigger an event. So why do I wanted to trigger the event? Because I wanted to raise an FPM event so that the loop get repeated again and the respective action will be happening. So in order to raise the events, in order to raise the FPM event at runtime, there is a class called CL underscore FPM underscore event, which is the main class created for the purpose of event handling. And using this particular class, I'm going to create an event at the runtime and I'm going to trigger that event. So this class, it has a method called create by ID, using which I'm going to create my event. So what is the event that I'm going to create? The event that I'm going to create is FPM change step, which means I'm going to navigate from one step to another step. So I'm just passing the value as FPM change step. That is the navigation that I'm going to perform, and I am triggering the event. So as soon as I have created this event, the reference of the event would be there in the LR underscore event variable. So this event, if you go and check this class CL underscore FPM event, you will have an attribute called MO event data, and this is the event using which I'm going to set in which step I am going to be. So what are the things that I have to check here, set here? So what is the main step, and what is the variant for the substep, and then what is the substep that I wanted to go. So these are the three things that I have to specify to navigate to a particular point of time. Now say for example, if I wanted to navigate to the substep in the main step 2, then I have to specify go to the main step 2, in that find this variant, inside that variant there is a substep, then find that substep. So if you see here, that is how the hierarchy is going to be there. The main step, then the variant for the substep, then our substep. Okay, so this is how it was. So the first thing that I'm going to specify is the ID of the main step. So what is the ID for the main step? It is main step 1. So I'm going to tell to this method that now the current step that you wanted to navigate is the this particular main step. This is the main step, and this is where you wanted to go right now. And I'm just passing the constant for the main step ID. Then the next thing that I'm going to say is, if you, this is the substep variant, so how do I find the variant of the substep? Go to the change and click on substep variant parameters. So it is going to provide you the substep variant, and I tell to the, and I create the event that you go to this substep variant, and later on we wanted to go into our actual substep. So what is the ID for the actual substep that we have, which is substep 1 underscore 1. Then I set that particular value as well. Now I have created the event, and to the event I have specified what is the main step that it should look for, and what is the main step, sorry, what is the variant of the substep it should look for, and what is the substep that it should look for. So I have specified these three things in the event, and I also have the instance of the FPM API. So using this FPM, I'm going to raise the event and I'm going to specify my event to be raised, which means I wanted to navigate to this substep. So that is what the information that I have created in the event, and I am triggering that event using the raise event method of the floor plan manager component. So that is pretty much I have done over here. So let's go ahead and test our application. Just test the application. And now if I'm going to trigger any process event method, then it is going to take me to the process event method, and the process event method I have written in the first component. I have written in the first component's process event method in the component controller. I forgot to tell you that. Right. So the main step, if I'm going to trigger any action, it is going to take me obviously to the process event method. So when I'm going to say next, it is going to take me to the process event. So this is going to take me to the process event method. The first thing that I do is I get the reference of the floor plan manager from the factory class. So wherever you wanted the reference of the floor plan manager, you can just choose this factory class to get the reference, because this is a singleton. Then the next thing that I'm doing is I'm going to create the event, and if you see, the event would be FPM change step. This is the event that I wanted to trigger through the FPM so that it will navigate to the step where I am specifying as a target. So I'm specifying the target here as what is the main step that it should go to, then what is the substep it should, sorry, what is the variant it should look for, and what is the substep that it should go to. So once I get all this information in this event object, then I pass that event object to the floor plan manager to raise that particular event and then to navigate there. Okay, so if you see now, you would have navigated to the substep. So this is pretty much the same approach that you wanted to do, even if you wanted to navigate to any step you wanted. So remember one thing, you have to specify these three IDs where you are going as a target. That's the only thing that you have to do. So see you in the next session with how to configure the IDR region. Thank you.